D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I watched the finale of Superman and Lois season 2. Now, I just want to say that I have enjoyed this season very much, very much. I liked it. You know, they dealt with a lot of COVID stuff, you know, restrictions, people getting COVID on set and everything. And they film in Canada and they have like, you know, a lot of restrictions and stuff up there in Canada. But I have enjoyed this season so far. It wasn't as good as season 1, I think, but I think that because of those restrictions, they had to change a couple of things, but I think they did a good job with what they had. In saying that, this was not the best episode, and it was not the best season finale. It was a finale in the sense that they wrapped everything up, but they wrapped it up in the most generic way possible. I mean, I still like the show, and this episode wasn't like terrible. It was just white bread. It was just very plain, and I was all like, oh, okay. I was hoping for more, and they didn't give it to me. It's like this whole season is like when you're about to you know, when you're having sex and you're about to climax, and then like, you know, and then the last episode you just don't, you know. So that's how I describe that. You know, you know, but it was still good. You're all like, it was good, but you know, it was just, you know, I didn't come. So sorry, I don't know if that was the right analogy or not, but that's the analogy you're getting, because it's early and daddy's tired because my kiddos don't know how to sleep. Well, they will later on in life. So anyways, so why don't we go ahead and get started on this breakdown. But before I do, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please, I say you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's do this breakdown. So it starts off with Allie. She's in between our two worlds, us and Bizarro World, and she's pulling them together. She's like, I'm doing it, dude. I'm doing it. And you know, and she looks pretty cool. This whole thing looks cool and everything. They did a good job with special effects as far as you know, the CW goes and everything. And we see the suns in the air and everything, and we get Sophie overhead. Oh, that's her name, right? Sophie. Oh, geez. And she has recorded a recording on her computer, because that's, you know, recordings, that's what they do. And she's basically saying like, you know, the Earths, they're coming together. That's true. And that Superman doesn't have any power, so he's not going to be able to save us. So the best thing to do is to get inside and be with the ones you love, which me personally, I just go, yeah, that's like, you know, a good idea. When at the end of the world, I'd like to be with my family. But at the same time, I'm all like, you know, some people break this rule, even though they sit here the whole episode and tell you to do that. Anyways, so, and then she calls Lois and she's all like, Lois, pick up. You're not picking up and everything. And I'm all like, yeah, because she's dealing with her own shiz, honey. So then we go over to the Cushing's house and she's like, have you guys seen her? Where's your dad? He's not answering his phone. And they're like, and the little girl, by the way, the little girl, oh, I didn't get a good one of her. The youngest Cushing, she's not the best actress. All right. We're just gonna, or Chrissy, that was the name of the woman. Anyways, she's all like, I just want to be like, you know, she's not exactly the best actress, but kid actresses, kid actors, am I right? Anyways, so she's like, he was there, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. Because what's happening in this episode constantly is you be there, and then all of a sudden you just like blink into the other Bizarro world. So like, we're gonna go find your dad, and she's like, didn't you just tell everybody to stay home? And she's like, with their families, and she's like, your dad is our family, we're gonna go find him. And I'm all like, yeah, you're not listening to your own advice, Mayor. I wouldn't listen to you too. So the Kents are at the Bizarro farm, but there's all this stuff from their farm in here. It's like mixed together. So then they're all like, what's going on? And Nat, she gets her, Natalie, she gets a signal from her dad, who's in the in between the two worlds or whatnot. And these two are sitting here talking, and she's like, what are we gonna do? And I don't remember what else he says. Like, how are we gonna get back? And he's like, we'll get back. So she's trying to get her dad, and she's getting in a signal, and he gets out a signal of like it's like Nat, bring ship, help, and everything. So she thinks she needs to get her ship and get to her dad and help him get out of the little negative zone or whatever. And they're like, sorry about your dad. And so she's like, I need to get to him. And they're like, what are we going to do? And then Talro comes in. He's like, I'm going to stop her, but I was blinked here. So I don't know. I must need to be here. So what's going on and everything. So they blink back, but Lois stays in the Bizarro world. And she's all like, boys and everything. And then Daddy Warbucks is there. Daddy Lane is there, and he's all like, I was here, and then all of a sudden I was in this red world and everything. And she's like, we need to get back to my family. I abandoned them. And he's like, you didn't abandon them. This isn't your fault. I'm like, yeah, Lois, we're bringing a little touch of the dramatic, aren't we? Just I abandoned my family because I was taken away from them and everything. He's like, we'll find a way to get home. So then Bizarro Lois comes in, and she's like, I don't know how to say things backwards. I love when people talk backwards, though. It's so fascinating. Anyways, so the Nat's all like, I'm going to go get my dad out. And they're like, you can't do this alone. And she's like, she's like, listen, everybody's saving everybody. Everybody's doing this stuff. It's my time. It's my time. It's our time down here. If you get that reference, you're awesome. Anyways, so they're like, we can help. And she's like, no, you can't and everything. Jordan, you stay here. I'm going to go get my dad. And she's like, she hugs him, and she's like, it was really nice to have brothers. Cause she's like, my dad's my family. And then Jonathan's all like, we're your family too. And I'm all like, oh, that's so cute. Like, even though that's not their sister, that's kind of their sister and everything. So she gives him a hug. She goes off to do her thing. Then she's trying to call her dad and everything. We're looking for dad and everything, and they can't find him. And this van, which pops up out of nowhere and rams into the thing, and they're like, "There's nobody here." And she's like, "Mom, there was a driver and it smashed into us." And I was like, for this last episode, I want to be honest with you. Most of the people in this episode do a really good job acting. This last episode, not so much. I was like, what's going on here? Like Sarah here, the actress that plays Sarah, didn't do the best job. Indy Navarrete. She didn't do the best job, especially in this scene right here. I'm all like, what's going on here? So these two decide that Talro is going to go and he's going to fight Allie to try to stop her. But he's like, you can't, because she'll just suck all your powers out. And he's like, I got to try and everything. So he's like, even though you were a bad guy, you've been a friend and a confidant. So thank you for being my friend, my brother, and everything. They hug, and he's like, see you soon, brother. But he says it in Kryptonian. Everybody's talking in different languages this episode. So he flies up to space and he shoots Allie in the face. And I was like, oh, in the face. And she's all like, oh, you want to play? You came to play. You want to play with mommy and everything. So she starts sucking his powers off. She starts sucking him off. And he's all like, Zorgified. He's like, oh, and everything. And that's a funny shot. Anyways. And Jordan comes out. He's like, yeah, I hear him screaming. He's like, I have to go help him. He's like, just grab Talro and get out of there. He's like, you can't face Allie alone. She'll kill you. And so she's all zapping him. Look at those eyes and everything. See, and this looks pretty cool and everything. And this part looks pretty cool. And so he comes in there, he bumps her out of the way, and Talro falls. And he goes and he saves him. He's like, thank you, nephew. You saved me and everything. And he's like, there's only one person that can defeat Allie. And they're like, who? And he's like, me. And they're like, what? You have no powers. And he's like, I want you to take me to the sun and throw me into it, because that's what mommy wanted, and my mommy wanted, and I think it's gonna work. And they're like, how do you know it's gonna work? He's like, I don't know, I just think it is and everything. So he's like, boys, I love you. Tell your mom I loved her if this doesn't work out. And I'm like, I thought you said you thought this would work, but you didn't think it would work, but you think it might work. Anyways, so he hugs him. He's like, I just need one thing. And Talro gets a suit. Which, by the way, his suit right there, and sometimes his suit when he's standing there, it looks like, like a Party City costume. And I'm like, you guys, maybe spend just a little bit more on the wardrobe, just a tiny, tiny bit, mostly on his suit. Anyways, so then Roblox here is all like, I have configured it. How are you? But it's got an accent, like a European accent. So sometimes I can't. I was like, what did it say? What did it say? I was like, well, I have configured it. And you're all like, what? It's like, so she's gonna take the ship and so they start talking over her plan and like, well, they don't plan. And she's like, we're gonna take my ship. We're gonna follow me into the little negative zone here, the in between space. We're gonna find my dad. And so they go to the firehouse and they're like, hey, have you seen Kyle? And she's like, no, he was here 1 minute and then he wasn't. And I was like, what? And I was like, but the daughter, this little idiot, was all like, he was here and the next minute he wasn't. And I'm all like, so but then this woman and Kyle later on both say they went to the firehouse, and I'm all like, what's going on here? I mean, like, the little girl could have said, like, dad said he was going to the firehouse, mom. Then why? Because then they wouldn't have to look all over the place. They just went straight to the firehouse. It's weird. She's like, he was here and then he wasn't. And they're like, you're the mayor, what do we do? And she's like, the best, you've done all you can. The best thing for anybody to do right now is to go home and be with your families. Now I'm gonna go on the streets. I'm all like, what? Like, Kyle's lost. Anyways, so back on Bizarro World, which I just want to say, the fashion of Bizarro World, I do not like this emo whatever look that we've got going on. It's like whatever, and they're all take me into your presence. It's like that. What's that song that sa moi these little cult worshipers. Anyways, so they go to find Chrissy, but the Bizarro World one, she's like, she kind of helped me out or helped out. God, I'm so sorry. It's early for me, you guys. And Daddy still needs his coffee. And so they go to find Chrissy, and she pulls out a translator. She's like, mama, and she's like, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do and everything. But then she disappears and her translator breaks. And I was like, oh, well, that was helpful. And so does Daddy DOA. DOD. DOA is a different thing. And like, planes are crashing because people are disappearing. I'm all like, now's not the time to go flying, guys. As soon as you saw that cubed sun, you should have landed in like a field or something. There was even this big jumbo jet looking thing. They didn't have a choice and everything if you're already in the air. Anyways, so they're all disappearing. And Kyle, I'm so sorry. So Kyle shows up and he's like, Lois. I'm like, how do you know? And everything. He's like, I got separated from my family. I went to the firehouse. Then I ended up here and everything. So then John Henry is recording a message to his daughter. He's like, I don't know if you can hear me, but I love you. I've always been proud to be your dad. And I'm all like, all right, calm down. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. But she's like, Dad. And he's like, Dad, you got my message. And he's like, you brought the kryptonite? And she's like, what? She's like, no, I didn't, and everything. And so, Talro and Kal-El, they're up in space, and she's like, all right, he's like, how do you know this is gonna work? It's like, I don't know this is gonna work. And so he's like, just throw me in, brother. And he's like, I love you, brother. I hope you make it. He's like, and then he like pushes me. He's like, good luck. And so he gets into the sun, and he's like, it hurts and everything. He's like, you brought the kryptonite. And she's like, no, Dad, I didn't get your whole message. What are we gonna do? And he's all like, she's like, we can take the kryptonites that's in our suit, the energy that's in our suit, and we can send it into the thing, because that's what his plan was, send it into the thing, and then we'll sorry, I'm jumping back, and then we can blow up the portal in between two worlds. And I'm all like, yeah, is that really gonna work though? Because the worlds are already like, they're like, and it doesn't work. That's the whole thing. It's like this close. And I'm all like, is that, I mean, Allie could practically touch them. So they're like, all right. And so they transfer all of their energy into this thing. So they have very little energy in their suits. So then Kyle here goes on a little nonsensicalness where he starts talking about how, like, he's like, I ruined my family. I cheated on my wife. This is my punishment. I deserve this. He's like, it's the end of the world. The only last thing I want is to see my dad. And I'm all like, man, this is some bad acting going on. Kyle actor, Eric Valdez. This is some bad acting, my dude, in this one scene. I'm like, usually you do a good job, not in this scene. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But then he disappears and goes back to the real world. And then Lois is all by herself. And then back on the real world, he's like in this crowd of like crazies and like Smallville people that aren't inside with their families. So they weren't listening to the mayor. He's like, I was like, Lana. And then he finds them. They hug and everything. He's like, I'm so happy. I just did a cry fest in front of Lois. And so then Grandpa shows up and he's all like, Dad's dead. I think he's dead. I can't hear him. He's like, oh, and before he left, okay, so before he left, Clark gives a speech about it. He's like, what can we do to help? And he's like, don't lose hope. And I'm all like, oh, like I can get behind the sappy messages and everything, the Full House, final moments messages, but not if the episode isn't stellar. Like this episode was not stellar. So all the sappiness, I was like, I can pass this. I can pass it along and everything. And then Grandpa here, he does the same thing. He's like, I've worked at the DOD and I've seen things that'll make your blood boil or some crap like that. And he's like, we can't lose hope, not in Superman. And I'm all like, okay, all right, more nonsense like this. I was like, it's crazy. So he's inside the sun and he's all like, he's remembering his kids and everything. And he's all burning. He's like, I got it burns, it hurts and everything. And then he starts to suck in those sweet rays, the sweet baby rays, and he remembers all this fun stuff, and he's healing. So they do the thing, they power up the ship, and they send it into the vortex of death. And the ship's all like, you do realize I will not be able to come back and everything. And they're all like, yeah, just do it and everything. And I'm all like. And then he's all like, just close your eyes, baby. It'll be over in a second. And I'm all like, man, it's a little, doom and gloom, Daddy Steel. And so Allie feels the closure and she's all like, I had enough of this shit. And so the little vortex, so she flies through and she's all like, oh, and they're like, she's like, Dad. He's like, just close your eyes, baby. It'll be over soon. And I'm all like, he's preparing her for the worst and everything. And then Superman, because she's flying towards him, and Superman comes in and he saves him. He lands him, he brings him back down here, and then Allie's chasing him. And everybody's like, Superman. And so here he is. I almost used this as my screenshot. I probably should have. But so he's like, I don't know if this is a specific Superman that he's supposed to be. If he is, I don't remember which one it is. Because, we got the oh, it doesn't even matter. Anyways, so Allie and him, so he flies towards Allie and they're fighting and everything, but he grabs her hands and she's trying to suck out all the power from it and everything. He's like, take more and everything. And he does that thing that we've seen before. We've seen it like a million times where like they want power, so just give them more than they can handle kind of thing. So she's all like, so she's all like, and then he rips them apart into two, and then they fall towards Earth. And then he's like, keep these two separated. But I'm like, can they join without the little medallion and everything? I don't think they can. And he flies off, and the Earths have combined into this little Roblox thing and everything. It reminds me of those little things that you get for stress. You just click on them or whatever. It's those little boxes or whatnot, or you like wheel it and stuff. So he starts flying around the worlds, and then he lands and he smashes. He's like, ah, and this is a very cool shot. Like visually, there's some really cool shots in this episode, but like I said, the episode is very mediocre, and it explodes and destroys both planets. Just kidding. Anyways, they get separated again. They're back to where they need to be. And he lands and everything. And she's like, Superman. She's like, you saved us. I can't hug you and kiss you right now because we're in public and everything, but I love you. And he's like, I know, Lois. I'm pretty awesome. You're pretty awesome too, Lois. Anyways, so they have a big festival, Miracle Monday, they're calling it. And I was like, way to be fucking original, Mayor. And she's all gives a speech. She's like, we almost died, but thanks to our personal Superman, we are finally okay, guys. Yay, and everything. She does this weird like acting where she's like, She hugs a woman that was all like, that was great. She's like, thank you. And then all of a sudden she's like talking to nobody. She's like, thank you, thank you, thank you, you, and everything. You're all like, oh, Jesus. And he's like, hey, you're a great mayor. You're such a great leader, the leader you always wanted to be. And now you are, and everything. And he's all like, I'm sorry I kept my secret from you. And she's like, hey, you had to. And now that I know, I wanted to keep Jordan away from my kids, but I can't keep him away from this because, whatever happens, it's going to happen kind of thing. I'm all like, all right. I'm like, at this point, at that time, it was, I was like, all right, maybe we need to hurry it up a little, just a tiny bit because, yeah. So then Chrissy comes down, and for some reason, and I don't know why, she tells Chrissy that Clark is Superman. And she's like, what? You're serious? Oh my God, and everything. And she's all like, and they hug, and she's like, do I need to know a super secret code to like not tell anybody? She's like, just don't tell anybody, Chrissy. And me, I'm all like, she's like, you're my partner and my friend, so I should tell you. And I'm all like, is that what you're gonna do with all your friends? Like, you're my friend, so I should tell you. And I'm all like, maybe maybe everybody should stop telling everybody they have superpowers. Anyway, so they're selling some merch. I like this kid and his cosplay. That's pretty cool. And then these two are talking, and she's all like, you kept your secret from me. And she's like, I want to just say that when I cheated on you and I kissed that girl and I liked it at band camp, I never said I was sorry. And I was like, you didn't say you were sorry, hooker. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm all like, no, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay, Jordan. Stop being the heel, Jordan, you little bitch. You can totally tell who wears the pants in this relationship. And she's like, maybe we just need to start over and communicate better. And I was like, yeah, maybe, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so they're all like, love you and everything. So then we got these banjo players, which I just have to tell you right now, though, that music was just not my jam. I was like, you pop out a banjo, and I'm all like, what do we got going on here? Probably nothing I'm interested in. Anyways. And then she's all like, the rhubarb pie was worth the drive. And I'm all like, what drive? From the Kent farm to Smallville? Do you guys like do this every day? What's going on here? Maybe she meant from like her world, but I'm all like, it's a weird joke. I didn't get it. Yeah, that's probably what she meant. From her world to their world, the drive in their little weird car, which I wish they hadn't destroyed, but whatever. Anyways. And then these two are talking. I don't remember what they said, but he's like, I love you. I love you. I love you. Kisses. Let's dance. And then Chrissy's like staring at him like a freaking stalker. And then Kyle comes up and he's like, hey, he's like, Mayor. He's like, you did great. And she's all like, long story short, she's all like, listen, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. And he's all like, she's like, but I will always be a part of my life because we have kids together. You're my baby daddy. And he's like bummed about it, but he's like, can I get at least a last dance of our relationship? And she's like, of course you can. And he's all like right here, as soon as he's like, I'm gonna do so much fucking now and everything. So and then Clark's listening to their conversation like a dick. It's none of your business, Clark. Clark, let me show you some. Let me give you a little lesson. Okay, watch. This is the lesson. See how I'm minding my own business? Maybe you could take some notes. So he's all like, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I just wish everybody could be as happy as us. Aren't we like the perfect couple and everything? And I'm like, get out of here. So then Lois goes to see Allie. Why? I don't, just to talk to her. She's all like, at any point in time, did you get what you wanted when you connected? And they're all like, there was one moment right before we connected where we felt, and then this one's all like, yes, with joy. She's like, that's not the same thing. And she's like, we know. And she's all like, and they're like, we needed followers. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly how she said it, but she's like, we needed followers because we can't be alone. And she's like, well, now you never will be. And so they hold hands and everything. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are never going to be alone. And she's like, oh, because she mentions Parasite. And I'm all like, this really wasn't Parasite in the sense that it is from the comic books. And I was hoping that she'd get that pink final form, where she's got the pink skin and everything. But maybe season 3, we'll get an actual Parasite of some kind, like the actual one. where this one goes and like touches people and Zorgifies them and everything. And so then Clark, the boys and them come outside the house, and there's a delivery of 2 monster trucks. And they're like, what's this? It's like, it's from Uncle Tal. And I'm all like, oh, Jesus. And they're all like, oh my God, these are great. And then he's like, oh, he brought us a holographic, whatever. And it's like, the sound system is amazing. And they're like, he's like, where do you think Tal went? And everything, Uncle Tal. And he went to Bizarro World. And I'm all like, can now they travel back and forth from Bizarro World to our world? And I'm like, okay, I guess, whatever. And so he's all like, hello, I'm a weary traveler, you crazies. And he's all like, drinks are on me. And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm all like, oh, this is some bad acting too from these extras. And then she's like, I thought you wouldn't be back in here since the last time you and what your wife did. And he's like, what's her name again, by the way? And I'm all like, oh, geez. And then John Henry's sitting at this diner, and then walks Diggle. And they like made a big deal about Diggle being in this episode, and it was like a non-episode, like a non thing. Like I was like, all right, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I like Diggle at the beginning of the Arrowverse, but then it just got to be nonsensical. Diggle and Arrow and all those shows, they just turned into shit. Anyway, so he's all like, hi, I'm Diggle. And he's like, from Argus. We met last year. Here's a file. He's like, so what I want to know. And then he names off the dude that runs Intergang. And they're basically just humans that use alien technology, and they're gang members kind of thing. But more than just gang members. They're not like gangbangers, but they're called Intergang because they use, and they're a Superman villain, but and they're going to be the villain in the new Black Adam movie. But they're like, the leader of this gang, Intergang, killed the John Henry Irons of this world. So he's basically like, you want to go get him? And I'm like, okay, season 3, yay, we're gonna see Intergang and everything. But they're probably not gonna do it right because, well, maybe they will. I don't know. As long as they just do the alien technology thing right, because I feel like, because like every time anybody mentions Intergang, I just feel like they're just gonna give, humans just these big weird guns that look like, like cosplay. And I'm all like, I want you to please do it right. Like, just please do it right and I'll be happy, But at the same time, this show has been doing a really good job. Anyways, so in Smallville, to wrap everything up, Lana's all happy now. And she's all like, I love you. Call me when you get there. And she's like, I'm not going halfway across the world, Lois. I'm just going to Metropolis and everything. And then, she's happy, and he's all like, hey, now that we've got Aunt Lucy in Metropolis, maybe we could drive up there with our trucks. And he's like, maybe not so much. He's like, I'm going to take you guys on vacation. So he takes him out into the middle of the ocean. And she's like, when you said ocean cruise or ocean vacation, I thought you meant something just a little bit more fun or whatever. And he's all like, long story short, and he's got this cardigan on, which I'm not a huge fan of cardigans. They hang too low. Me personally, I'm short, so they make me look like a toddler. Like I look like a 3-year-old in your dad's cardigan. Because like, look at that. Just look at that. See all that fabric right there? It would just hang off me like a big trench coat. So he's all like, so he's got his mom's crystal, and he's all like, I'm going to create a new fortress out here in the middle of the ocean, where all of us can come. And he's like, I think only you people that can fly can get here. And he's like, no, it's for you too. Grandma would love to meet you. So he throws out the thing, and it doesn't pop up first. Like, maybe it's broke and everything. And then all of a sudden we get the ice crystals, and creates the Fortress of Solitude from the comics, which somebody a long time ago, when episode 1, I had mentioned that I didn't like the Fortress of Solitude because it didn't look like this from the comic books. Oh, and real quick, he says this is only the beginning. And then that's where the episode ends. Now I want to get back to this comment I was talking about. So I had mentioned that I didn't like the way the Fortress of Solitude looked. Like, I was like, it looks really bland, like they went a little on the cheap with this Fortress of Solitude and everything. And one of you mentioned that it made more sense for it to just look like a regular cave, because here on Earth, because we have satellites and stuff, from space, they would be able to see this big crystal structure. And I was like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Never mind. I'm totally okay with the Fortress of Solitude looking just like a regular old cave, you know? But I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy seeing this. I was like, yay! I was like, this makes me happy, you know. Yeah, I mean, and again, if they did the regular, just plain old cave thing, I would have been totally fine with that too. I just, you know, there's something about this, seeing this structure that makes me happy. And I don't think this, I take that back. It's not from the comic books. I mean, it is now, but I think that the Superman movie, the original one from 1979, I think that, or 78, I think that they did this crystal structure, not the comic books. Don't quote me on any of this because I can't really remember, but I think it did that. And I always like seeing this image, you know, just because it brings back memories. And so yeah. So that is my breakdown of this season finale. I'm gonna do a season 2 review. I just have to finish my Obi-Wan review. That's taking a little bit longer than I had expected. Just because I got to find a lot of different clips and everything. And then I'm trying to get it to where I won't be, you know, copyright claimed and then they block it. Man, they're blocking all my stuff. I made a video the other day. I worked really hard on it and I can't do it without doing it the way it is. Like I can't take anything out and they blocked it. And I was like, I'm not going to re-edit this. I was like, this video, it needs to be the way it is. Like there's no getting around it. So I'm hoping they'll do the thing that they do every now and then where they block my videos and I'll leave it up, you know, and then they, after like, you know, a year, they just let it go. Cause I'm all like, you know what? I was like, I don't care. I was like, but anyways, all right, you guys, I'm sorry about that tangent. It was so stupid. Anyways, so that is my breakdown and review of this episode. Was it a great season finale? No. Was it good? It was fine. I wonder if there was an end credit scene. I didn't look. Oh man, I'll go back and watch it. I think I deleted it though off my TV. It's fine. But tell me what you guys thought about this season finale. Are you like me and you thought it was just okay, like very mediocre, you know, very white bread or whatever? Or did you love it? Did you think this was great? If you did, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. If you loved it, great. I'm super happy for you. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't love it, you know? I felt like there was just a little bit more to be desired, but because they just wrapped up everything so like nonchalantly, very generically. So yeah. All right, you guys, tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my season 2 review when I get to it. You guys have a good day. Bye.